Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone today? Welcome. Welcome to Money Monday. Welcome to Money Monday with yours truly, Bishop Alfie Lewis. Listen, we're excited to have you on with us. God bless you, Apostle. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. Listen, we want you to hit that share button. We want you to hit that invite and that watch party button. Why? Because we're going to give you some major, valuable information pertaining to, you guessed it, your money. That's right, your money. Let's talk about Brad's tax. We want to deal with your money. How are you spending it? Are you getting the most and the maximum from it? So we're going to talk about some of those questions today, and I'm excited to have with us our financial expert and our financial guru, my beautiful Nubian queen. I had to go all the way to Nigeria by way of Upper Marlboro to get her, Maryland to get her. And then that is in the personage of our executive pastor, Uchenna Lewis. Let me see if I can bring her on right now. Okay.
Every time you say that, I'm like, Lord, have mercy.
Well, join us. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Glad to have you with us today. I want to try to change this frame a little bit here. Let's see. Is this the one I want? Okay. That's right, Apostle. All the way from Nigeria. I had to go all the way to Nigeria by way of Upper
Since you know
Marlboro.
you did,
Now listen.
all the
Well,
way to
yeah,
Upper Marlboro.
by way of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. So I did. So listen, without further ado, we apologize for those of you that were waiting for us at 3 p.m. But we want to get started. Let's fix this executive pastor. Okay, all right. Now, can we enlarge the pictures?
It's up to you, Bishop.
Okay,
Things
let me
will
see
be
if I
good.
can. All right, let me see if I can do it again. It wasn't like it needed to be, but it changed, and I don't have that access. But at any rate, okay. Listen, we're going to talk about finances. This is today. We're talking about Money Monday. We started it on a Friday. We said, well, we'll do it this Monday, and we'll call it Money Mondays. So we want to get your feedback to let us know if in fact this was meaningful to you, if in fact this is something that really helped you on a personal note. And so without further ado, I want to just jump right into some questions that I have for Uchenna as our financial expert on today. I can't wait to dive in to some questions. All right, here's the first question. Uchenna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Uchenna Lewis, I am a pastor. I'm also a multi-income entrepreneur, a multi-stream entrepreneur, which simply means I work across different spheres when it comes to business and business matters. And one of my biggest things is helping, especially women and moms, leverage multiple streams of income from home. So I've been able to do that successfully. And now I also help others do that as well. I'm also a professional speaker. I'm really passionate about seeing, especially our community, advance and get ahead because we've been so behind when it comes to our finances and money matters. And it is my heart's desire and prayer that we get to the point where we really become masters of our finances. So that's just a little bit about me. Of course, I am a wife and a mother, even more importantly, and I am a woman who loves God, loves God's people. So that's it in a nutshell.
Wow. You know, Well, we're glad to have you with us. And I like those specs you're wearing. Those pretty cool.
Well,
You
I
know,
thank you. I
you
thank you very kindly. I guess
well.
I can see it's 2020, right? So thanks to you, you always did a good job of reminding me how I needed to be able to see, and I was blind, and to stop borrowing your glasses, especially at night when I needed to see the screen. But now I can see. I can see, Bishop.
Well,
Glory to God. Hallelujah.
vision is important. Vision is very important.
It is.
So, this topic of discussion of finances, in today's time, particularly our people, our community, rather, we have a proclivity to be consumers versus being a people that's more of savers. Statistically speaking, it is said that we spend trillions of dollars. We have a capacity to spend trillions of dollars. When the new Jordans come out, that we spend excess of $300 and $400. Some people, they purchase Chanel bags before they make sure, the necessities are taken care of. So
Mhm.
we need to really kind of have a mind shift, a paradigm shift in our minds and our thinking, because when we do that, we can really do something financially in our communities that will impact our communities, impact our lives as a whole, as a people. So here's a question I want to ask you: what makes you the financial expert? I mean, what makes you the financial expert?
Well, I am licensed. I'm a licensed financial professional. So I've done what's required as far as the study, both professionally, the self study. I've actually had to challenge exams within the state to be licensed within Maryland. And this also allows me, because I'm licensed here, I can operate beyond Maryland to all 50 states and Canada. And so I am a licensed professional. So definitely that makes me a financial expert. Again, I've studied, had the self study, I've done it professionally, I've been able to challenge and pass the exams that's necessary for me to be in that position, to help educate others and consult with others as well. Apostle Liberty, it's good to see you, sis. Welcome.
So tell us, what made you decide to get involved in the financial industry?
Sure. Last year, I'll say this, and just to piggyback, a few years ago, actually, over a few years ago, this was about maybe 12 years ago, I'd actually had a really short stint in the financial industry. And then I just had so much going on, both professionally and otherwise, so I didn't continue in that lane. But last year, we had two deaths very pretty close to us. And one was within the ministry, and then one was kind of ministry and family related. And what we found out was that each time in those two situations, and because it was very close to home, we were kind of in the thick of it. But in each situation, we found out the families weren't prepared. Now, mind you, with both passings, both individuals had been sick, or they had different conditions they dealt with. So the fact of the matter is that we believe God most times for healing. We trust God for that. But we all know that each one of us, we live and we die. That's a reality that we face, a reality we have to deal with. But we seem always so unprepared for it, right? So in these situations, we found that it was such a strain for the families. In one situation, matter of fact, even preparations were made for the passing of this loved one who had transitioned to glory. Now it felt like it was time for people to rally around just to see that this person was put away in decency and in order. And I remember we started having a conversation, and it was, in fact, very troubling to you at the time. And you will say, you know what, it's just ridiculous that we spend so much time living and yet not have plans for what would happen afterwards, as if we don't know that's going to happen, right? And after the second situation happened, matter of fact, it was three. But in the third, the third was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And you said, you know what? We're starting the year with a financial empowerment workshop, a financial empowerment seminar. And we ended up working towards having that financial empowerment seminar. We had different financial professionals come in to speak to us concerning our finances and getting our financial house in order. And it was after that
Yes.
seminar, which I ended up not being able to attend because one of our daughters was really ill. But the one of the presenters, it was very important to you to have them speak to us personally because you felt there were some things they shared that absolutely made sense to you, and you felt that even
Yes.
as a family we needed that. And so when they came to our home and they shared with us, it sparked something on the inside of me because I realized what they were sharing, even though we knew some things, even though we knew it was important to be prepared, we realized there's really a gap. Even we weren't as prepared as we wanted, even though we knew more could be done, right? And we realized that, wow, this is not just, I realized it's not just an issue for us alone. This is a huge gap within our community. We're not educated
Right.
enough. We're not literate. We go to school, with degrees, and we're educated, however, very financially illiterate. So there are a lot of
Yes.
things we're not taught in our schools. We're not taught in the educational sector because the purpose of it isn't really to make us financially free. It's to
Right.
equip us to be
An
employees,
employee.
equip us to work,
Absolutely.
equip us to be part of the
Absolutely.
workforce and not part of those who are financially free in a sense. So
Right.
that's what got me into
Entrepreneurs and things of
right.
that
That's
nature.
what got me into this industry.
Yeah, and I think it's a good time. I think this is the season. If any, there was any a time, there was a time that a shift take place in the realm of finances, in the realm of business. Now
Hmm.
is the time. I believe that this is the season for the people of God, for people, period, to grab hold, have a paradigm shift in their mind and hearts and spirit, and grab to
Absolutely.
the concept of being entrepreneurs versus employees, being employers versus employees. I mean, the system is set up for the employer. The system
Right.
is set up for the business owner today. And so it is about, we have probably about 400 and about 70 some odd tax breaks or credits that is given
Hmm.
to the entrepreneur, if I'm correct. So
That's correct.
we're living in this space, in this pandemic. I call it the worst of times and the best of times, personally, because if we could actually see what's going on around us, then we can really take advantage of what's before us, and then do great exploits in the earth, and not just have to settle for working on a job. Now, I'm not against someone working a 9 to 5 by all means,
Right.
but I do know that working a 9 to 5 versus being your own employer or your own entrepreneur, your own boss, I like that better versus working a 9 to 5, because the reality of it is when you work a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, 9 and 8, depending on how long they need you on your job. When you work, you only will make what that employer wants you to make. You
That's
will
right.
not make what you are worth, and you are worth so much more than what they pay you. And if you want to break free from the idea of working for someone, you see, that's where that mind shift has to take place.
Right.
Taking and saying, listen, I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to work for myself. And have your hands, have yourself and your destiny in your own hands with the help of the Lord, versus your life being in the hands of an employer,
Right.
to make what you're worth versus what they believe or want you to make. Because as you work for someone, you will never make what you are worth, and you must know your worth. If you can know your worth, you will be so much more of an impact and threat to the industry that you're in. And the other thing is, when you working for else, or when you start to work for yourself rather, then what you do, you create opportunities for you. If you ever want to change your tax bracket, if you ever want to change your zip code, for those of you that taking notes, I want you to hear what I'm about to say. Hit that share button. If you ever want to change your tax bracket, and if you ever want to change your zip code, solve a problem.
Amen.
Find a problem, solve a problem. The bigger the problem you solve, the more you can make. As simple as that. You find a problem. If you want to make more money, find a problem, and solve the problem. People are making vaccines, putting vaccines together, and America is looking for the vaccine. Please understand, the person that has the vaccine, then that solves that problem. Watch how many zeros come behind that one.
Hmm.
Okay, so I wanted to put that out there. So again, we're glad to have you. And like you were mentioning, my personal feeling about, when you lose a loved one, you shouldn't have to cry twice. You shouldn't have to be sad twice that your loved one passed away, and then you're crying. Of course, you're grieving, but then you're crying again because there's no way to put your family member away, or give them a decent going away or burial. That's a terrible feeling.
It
That's a
is.
sad place to be. And
Let
so
me
so you know how do you deal with that? How do you change that?
listen. I
Go
gotta
ahead.
tell you this. I have to share this with our listening audience. I mean, of course, most of I am Nigerian by origin, right? And it was always interesting to me how different, in a sense. I mean, there are a lot of things that are similar, but still a lot that's really different. I'm telling you, when we lose a loved one, right? It is, you talk about crying twice. I'm not sure if it's just crying twice. Listen, we take out a whole sabbatical to mourn, okay? And I remember, even with, for example, I've, being with you and seeing a couple of your siblings pass, right? And you get up
Hmm.
and go. I remember the first instance, I thought to myself, there has to be something wrong with him. Surely, because you got the news. I saw you, like, I knew it got to you. Maybe
Hmm.
shed a couple of tears, but then not long afterwards, you were out and about on the same day. And I'm thinking to
Hmm.
myself, there is no way that happens with us, right? No way. Listen, I'm talking about you stay home for a month. You got to really cry, cry. Like, no joke. Like, cry, cry, cry. But the interesting thing is this. I realize more and more, one of the reasons why we mourn the way we do when people pass, and not to say we shouldn't, right? These are our loved ones that we don't see again until we get to the feet of Jesus. We get to heaven, right? For those of us that do believe. But we mourn the way we do because then now you're not only losing your loved one that you don't get to see again, but very often you're losing maybe the provider of the home, right? You're losing a source of income. A lot of times, especially again with our people, don't get me wrong, we're people that work really hard. We're at the upper level of the tax bracket, not only in this country, but wherever, right? But we don't make proper preparations. We don't ready ourselves for what happens tomorrow. It's almost like we don't believe in talking about it. We don't have money conversations, hardly ever, right? So I realized that, wow, this is when we talk about our community, we're not, as a first generation African, so to speak, right? It's not only our issue, but most people of our descent have a lot of those too. We don't have money conversations. We don't have them in our home. We don't educate our children. We don't have those tough come to Jesus moments when it comes to money. And so that's exactly why we don't even plan for when we pass. We don't think about it. What's going to happen with our children? What have we put in place for them? Hey, Clarissa, I love. Good to see you. What have we put in place for them, right? What's going to happen if we have that income that our family has survived on? And should we transition, what happens to that? And speaking of, I heard you talk about, why it's very important to have something you do that you can call your own. This is why it's important. And thank God I have Apostle Liberty here, and I'll use her as an example. And I know there are others tuned in because of the third party app. We can see some, there's some we may not be able to see. But for her, she's a cyber engineer, right? She's also in ministry, but she's also an entrepreneur. Much as she works as a cyber engineer, guess what? She might be absolutely phenomenal and talented and skilled at what she does. And she may work really hard and be the best, but guess what? She can never will that job to her offspring. She'll never be able to will it to Zion. She'll never be able to will it to Liberty, Dorn, none of them, right? And we've worked corporate jobs, and no matter what we put in there, we could never will it to any of our offspring. And that's why it's important that if we're living, the word of God says, teach us to number our days. If we're really living to number our days, so we should be thinking, when the Lord calls me home, because it's not if, he's going to call you home, right? But when he calls me home, what happens with our children? Proverbs 13:22, it says, a good man leaves an inheritance. Listen, not for his children, but for his children's children. That means you've left enough where your children benefit, and now your children's children also benefits. You set them up. And a lot of times we might equate that to be spiritually, but it's not just spiritually. If you go through the word of God, is replete with scripture that shows us it's important for us to keep something for our children and our children's
That's right.
children. And so this
That's
is
right.
really, really, if we do that, not to say we won't mourn our loved ones, but we put them in a better position where we're not overly broken when something happens.
Absolutely. About leaving an inheritance. You talked about money. You talked about money. And again, like you mentioned, money is not a big subject or topic of discussion in families, with families. The difference between the black community and the white community oftentimes is that we don't have that conversation about
No.
finances. We don't learn about money early. We don't learn about money young, very young, or we don't teach our children about expenses versus we don't teach
Mhm.
our children about liabilities versus assets. We don't talk about that because we as a community, we're always in the survival mode. We're just
That's
trying to
right.
make it. We're just trying to get it, just trying to survive. And my prayer and my hope is that in that we move from that place of just surviving and move to a place of thriving, move from a
Amen.
place of just trying to make it, and that mindset change. Because guess what? If that mindset doesn't change, we'll always work for money, but we won't ever be able to enjoy life. You should want to
Absolutely.
live and not just merely exist. Warren Buffett says something along these lines. He says, if you never start making money while you sleep, you'll
Mm.
work until you
Until
die.
you die.
You know, so you have to change that concept, of working and working and working and working hard. It's really not about working hard as much as it is about having a plan mapped out so that you can be financially free. Now,
Absolutely.
financially free, what that means to you may mean something else to the next person, but you
Right.
want to be financially free. I enjoy the ability to be able to have freedom I have, being with my family, being with my children, my wife. I enjoy that, and my income still moving in the right direction I wanted to move, waking up from finding residual income, but that's what you got to do. You have to put that, you do have to work. Now, if the problem with a lot of people though, Uchetta, is that people don't people would rather work for another person because they don't want to take on the responsibility of the cost or what it costs to be a business owner. You saw that's something that I've seen too. That people say, I'll just work for somebody, get my paycheck and go on about my business. Well, if that's you, if that's who you are, that's what you want to do, then have at it. But as for me, in my house, we not that's not what we doing. We're not doing that. I've done it. I did it for a long time. I started working at the age of 14 years old, and then I made a change and I made a shift in my life. And I prayed and asked God to let me at 45 retire. He let me do that earlier than 45. I did it in my 30s. And for the last, what is this, since 2013, I've been full time on my own in my own ministry and working for myself. But you got to take and walk by faith and not by sight.
Absolutely. Can I say this? And
So,
speaking of that,
sure,
just to piggyback on what you shared, there are a lot of people. It is nothing absolutely wrong with working a job. Absolutely, and for
absolutely,
those who are listening in and tuning in, that's if that's where you are right now, absolutely nothing wrong with it. And matter of fact, you can work a job until you retire. That's fine, right? However,
sure,
it's
you
very
can.
important that people understand this. Most you have to have at least something you do from home. You have to have a home-based business. And what does that mean? And the
Well,
reason
listen. Let's hold on. Let's not go that. Hold on. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I wanna hit these questions because I want them to hear. I want our audience to hear a few other things before you step in that water, and,
sure.
and I can sense it coming. Okay. And here's the question. Another question. Um, um, what do you think is most important about financial literacy? What do you think is most important about financial literacy?
What's most important is that it's education everybody should have. Why? I think money is the common denominator. Everybody uses it, right? We may not all use the same brand of cars. We may not wear all the same type of clothing. We may have our different tastes with whatever it is. But when it comes to money, everybody, that exchange is something that happens on a daily basis. You need finances no matter what industry you're in, no matter what type of job you currently do, no matter the business that you're in, right? And so, as a result of that, every single person needs to have financial literacy because you use this. I mean, it's something you use on a daily basis and absolutely important that everybody should have. I think that's what's important, most important about financial literacy. It's education that everybody should have. I think next to the knowledge of who God is, next to just having basic skills of reading and writing, the next should be financial literacy. And we should start teaching our children literally from when they're kids, when they understand what it means to say, mommy, can I have? Daddy, can I have? Right? Those are times when you must start having those money conversations. Those are times when someone gives them something, you begin to teach them what happens when you get money. What do you do with this? Do you understand what it means to give? Do you understand what it means to first pay yourself after you've given? And then what happens to the rest, right? And so with our children, for example, their grandparents, every time they see them, they love to bless them. Right now, Legacy doesn't know any better, but I try to do that with Jada. What do you do with that money, right? So first of all, we know we give back to the Lord first because that's income to you. It's something that you've received. So you first give to the Lord, then you can have something. Because you got $20 don't mean you spend all $20. Give to the Lord, leave something for you, and then the rest of it, what do you do with it? So this is where financial literacy and education starts. So for those, for example, who I work with, we start, I mean, it's that basic. It's that basic, so that what you're
Right.
learning, you're able to actually not only put it in practice for you, but you're teaching your children, because again, our offspring and the generation to come, what we do with them is as important as what we're doing for ourselves today to prepare them for tomorrow.
Awesome. Awesome. So, why do you think financial literacy is important, particularly in our community?
Because we're behind the eight ball. We are, when you talk of being
Mm,
way behind, right? Our community, for example, with African Americans being of the descent that slaves were brought in here, we came into the system when things were already established for our counterparts. Most of them already began, they already knew what it was to build generational wealth, right? They'd begun to do that. They understand those concepts. So even
Correct.
for our forefathers, by the time they got here, they came into a system that was already established. And we know, even as far back as, I mean, we're talking the early 1900s, for example, when Black Wall Street was there. We're talking way back before our people got the epiphany. But guess what? They fought as much as they could to make sure that was something that didn't stand, for too long. But we are behind. There are things we don't understand. There are things we're not taught. We're in a capitalistic society. And so we have to understand what goes with that. And you're not going to understand that unless you're really financially literate, unless you understand how money works here. And it's important that we go from just working for money, which most of us do. Most of us have learned to do. Most of us within our community, we know how to work hard. We know how to put in the work. So we start doing it from when we're younger. I think most kids of color, they the sooner they can get that summer job because they want the extra change, they immediately begin to want to go ahead and work, right? So they can make money. But guess where the issue is? The reason why they do that and the reason why they want to make money is to be able to spend it. So we're the most consumer driven community, right? We're the least financially literate. We know how to make that money. We bring that money in, but we don't know what goes with spending the money. We don't know how to allocate our monies. And that's why even though we spend the most, we have the highest debt ratio. We have the
Mhm.
highest debt to income ratio as far as a race goes, right? So we are so behind the eight ball when it comes to financial literacy. And these are things we really need to be able to get in order because you know what? We talk about with the current climate of our nation, for example, in fact, of the world, be talking about the fact that Black Lives Matter and we see what's going on. This is not only a race issue; it's also an economic issue, right?
Very
Where
much so.
we are on the economic spectrum lends so much to the climate of injustice we're facing right now. And so this is a cry not for us as a community. This is a cry. If we really want to make sure our voices are being heard, we have to not only be able to sit at tables, we have to be able to build those tables. We have to be able to have intelligent conversations when it comes to money. We have to have our own ecosystem when it comes to money. We have to understand how to manage it, how to invest, and so on and so forth. So, again, for us as a community, this is huge. It is a must within our community. It is a must.
Well, you're walking down the street and you walking in the alley that I love to walk in, because when you talk about economic growth and economic empowerment, we as a people we need to be empowered economically. We
Mm-hmm.
do not own we do not own a hospital. We do not own our own school. We do not own any of those a grocery store. We don't own any of that in one centralized location, and those
Now,
are foundational components that and or banks. Those are financial components that are foundational in an economic infrastructure to build and to grow. You know, one thing about the Tulsa, Oklahoma, um, um, with the black community back in that time that had airplanes, grocery stores, hospitals, you name it, they were doing very well. The one thing that they understood was economic empowerment and strength. And
absolutely.
when you have the economic infrastructure, then you can call some shots. You can call some shots.
Absolutely.
You can make some changes. Capitol Hill, they understand what money, they understand and they answer to money. That's what lobbyists do. They go up to Capitol Hill and they take their lobby donations, and they see those various congressmen and women, and they have their agenda, and those agendas are addressed
Right.
because they go up there and lobby with something in their hand. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
marching is good. Marching is needful because marching raised the awareness of the situation. But we don't only need to march. We need to have something in our hands to go to Congress, put in their hands, and put and say, listen, here are our demands. This is what we desire. This is what we want to see. We want to see this in our community. So, and then the other piece, as a community, we need to care. As a
Mm-hmm.
community, we need to care about, is there enough bus stops on the street? We need to care about the potholes because you're paying taxes. You need to care. You need to care about the Census Bureau. That's very important because you count. They add you in the number. And so a lot of times, as us as a people, we say, "Oh, that don't matter. Oh man, they're not." But no, it matters. It matters. And as we take a part and put ourselves at the seat at the table and sit at the table and raise our voices and raise our concerns and then follow through on our situations and concern. Police brutality. We've been dealing with that for over 10, 15 years, and it's still going on. There's some changes made. They're tearing down statues, they're removing Confederate flags. All of that is well and good, but I need some laws to change. I need HRs to change. I need the internal affairs not to get in cohorts with the officer that has been charged, and I need a private firm to address these matters within the police departments and the justice systems. Why? So that justice can be served, and the police officer that produced the injustices won't have administrative leave and then come back in about 6 months and on leave for 6 months getting paid and then go out and harm somebody else. So that's the stuff we dealing with. And so until we make those necessary adjustments and changes financially, economically, your money speaks for you. That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The money is speaking. They listen to money. They listen to money. When we
Hmm.
don't go and support certain stores, we don't go and support certain when we go and start supporting our own businesses and change the paradigm, because we spend like $1 trillion a year. We're the most consumerist ethnic group in the country. We spend a lot of money, but we save very little and don't own much of anything.
Can I
So
share
we have
this?
to change that paradigm. Sure.
There was a study in 2019, all right, a study that was done in 2019, and that study found this. 97% of the people that responded to the study, it showed that there was an underestimated gap between the median wealth held by Black families. And do you know what that median wealth was?
What's that?
$17,000, right? That was the median wealth held by Black families. It was $17,000. And then white families, on the other hand, was $171,000, a ratio of 10 to 1, right?
That's
I
a
mean,
disparaging gap.
that when you disparaging is an understatement. It is an understatement. And the reason why this is important for us to really remember that, as we talk about why financial literacy is important in our community, is because, again, we have, in our community, there are people who are entering middle class for the first time, right? But we have a lot of people who are, even though they're educated, do you know that those of us who graduate from college, right? In most industries, they still end up earning less than their counterparts in the white community who only have GEDs. When it comes down to, even, for example, credit or being able to take advantage of the credit system, you might have a higher score, but because again of our overall economic outlook and because of the fact that we are the color that we don't have as many opportunities. But when we look at again our median wealth, and this is not just what understand that this is not just what we earn. There are a lot of things that go into consideration when they put these things together. Your assets, it's not just what you earn. You might earn, but if your liabilities are more or eat away at everything you earn. In fact, most times in the Black community, we're in the negative. So you might earn X amount, but then if you earn $50,000 a year, but what you end up spending or your liabilities at the end of the year, when we do a personal financial strategy for most people are in the hole about $20,000. And I mean, and these are people who actually they're on the good scale. Some people you find in a hole as much as $50,000 a year. So yes, you earn income, but their liabilities. What is your liability? Your liability is anything. You might have a home. Yes, you have a home. Is your name on the deed title and all of that. However, if it's not paid off yet, it is still, in a sense, a liability, right? You have a vehicle that you're still paying for. All of the things that eat into what you make, these are liabilities. So most times people end up having a deficit where they're actually living off of credit, right? But then with our counterparts, because they have built generational wealth,
Hmm.
they don't depend only on what they earn. So most families, that's why their median is at about $171,000. And again, that gap, that's a huge disparity. We could do better.
Wow. I mean, I hope you all are getting some information. I hope something is being shared with you that potentially you didn't know, didn't think about, had not heard of. Our ultimate goal with the broadcast is to bring shed light on financial literacy, and hopefully and prayerfully that there's something said that can help you change your financial portfolio, make it better, make it than it is already. We so right now this segment, this session is kind of it's free, but it won't be free long. All this good information, we're getting ready to tell you some more information that's going to be a blessing to you. Here's a question, Uchenna. Is there a connection between people who are financially independent or people who can build wealth?
Yes, there's a huge connection. Those who are independent and those who are able to build wealth. Again, most people who are not independent, meaning you don't have something where you have the freedom to create, the freedom to decide how much you earn, the freedom to bet on yourself. Most people can't build wealth working a job. You might be comfortable, but look at everyone who's built wealth. None of them have only a job. And it doesn't mean they haven't worked a job in their lifetime. And it doesn't mean they currently maybe don't even work a job. But in addition to that, they have portfolios, they have investments, they have businesses that yield them, like we talked about earlier, income while they sleep, right? If you don't have anything that's yielding you income while you sleep, trust and believe me, you're going to work for a very, very, very long time. So there is definitely a connection between wealth and financial literacy. There's a big connection between wealth and those who are independent. You have to have a level of independence to be able to achieve wealth. You can't do that when someone else dictates what it is you're worth. It is near impossible to build wealth with that.
Wow. What would you say to the average person listening about a home based business?
I say everybody needs to have one. Again, I started to broach the topic before. It doesn't matter what you currently do. It doesn't matter if you have a job. If you have a job, that's absolutely great, even better. But everybody needs to have one because in this country, especially, and as a capitalistic society, it's built to support businesses. So during this pandemic, for example, families, individuals were able to get $1,200, and then maybe for the kids, you get 600, a piece or whatever that was, right? If you were within a certain income level. Guess what? For businesses were getting tens of thousands, some of them hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I'm talking about people who had home based businesses, even sole proprietors, right? I'm not talking about just big organizations. So, this nation is built and the rules are made to support those who have businesses. So, it's absolutely important that you find something that you can do. You find something. Why, again, why is it important? Apostle Liberty says she agrees. Absolutely, because you understand that you do that, right? Your home, now your place of residence, is where most of us, we spend a lot of time within our residence. I tell people all the time, you have a home, you have your phone, almost everything you do, you should be able to get a return on it. When you have a home based business, and understand this, you might have a brick and mortar, right? Again, nothing wrong with that. But you should still have something you do at home, because it's important that at the end of the year, you can write off part of your mortgage or your rent. You can write off part of your utilities. You should be able to write off part of your water bill. You see that lawn care when you have someone come do the lawn, right? If you have a home based business, you can write part of that off, right? So if you use maybe 25% of the space in your home for your business, to run your business, and understand that having a home based business is where you're able to have 45 minutes on a daily basis where you work that business from your home space or your home quarters 4 times a week, right? If you do that, add that up, that's not a whole lot. But you can't claim anything if you're not functioning in that capacity, or you don't
as
have
a
a business
business.
that you can do from home. So all of us have something we should be able to do from home, right? So this is pretty significant. Not only that, the government actually gives you 475 tax cuts. Again, 475 deductions that you can claim when you have a home-based business.
Wow.
Anyone who doesn't have anything they're doing from home, or at least one stream of business that's a work at home business, is absolutely, I mean,
You're
it doesn't
robbing
even make
yourself.
sense. You're robbing yourself. It is not
You're robbing
wise. It
yourself.
is not intelligent, because again, you have all of these deductions that you can take at the end
You,
of the year to
you're
not only
leaving
break
money on the
even,
table.
but you're leaving money on the table. And I
You're
am not
leaving it.
about that life.
You're leaving money on the table without
Absolutely.
question. You know, your I mean, it's so many, what, 475 ways to receive tax breaks, tax deductions, credits for your home based business. I mean, that's unreal. I mean, I'll give you another idea. You went and bought some some detergent to wash your clothes, and or some bleach to wash your clothes. Do you not know that that bleach, that detergent, can be written off for the clothes that you wash, because those clothes you wear and part and representing who you are and your business. When you go to the barber shop or the beauty salon, you get your nails done, your hair done, manicure, pedicure, you name it. When you go to lunch or go to dinner, on vacation, you name it. I mean, the list go on and on and on and on, even to your children. So
That,
listen, you're leaving money on the table if you do not have a home based business. You're leaving money on the table. Now you don't have to do what we do, but I'm telling you,
do
you need to
something.
have a home based business, do something so that you can reap these benefits in this season. I mean, when you talk about, I mean, and we'll share some of what we do with you in case you want to kind of join in or see what we're doing. But this is critical. This is critical, and critical to your financial portfolio, your financial prowess, and so think about that. Think about that. That's good information Uchenna. Here's
Well,
another
I
question.
didn't I
Because
didn't share
home-based
this.
business.
Can I share this as well? And that was something I meant to mention when we talk about how important it was to have a home based business. With a home based business, you're actually able to hire your kids to work for you, right? You can absolutely do that. It is allowed. If you look in the tax codes, the kids are able to work for you as long as the wage doesn't exceed $12,000 and change yearly. So you're actually able to pay each of your kids to be able to work from home and then take that as a deduction at the end of the year. When I'm telling you
Wow.
the benefits of having a home-based business, look at that. You're able to take a deduction up to $12,400 at the end of the year when
Wow.
you have a child in a home in your home. Now think about it. If I knew a lot of what I know now, I know the years that I had Jada in private school, for example, all of that money I spent, I would have been able to write off at the end of the year because I would have been able to pay her. And then from there, her fees, her school fees, and her uniforms, and all of that would have gone from whatever I paid her from my home based business. Did I know what I know now doing financial literacy? So this is absolutely critical that we know that again, everybody and their mama and their uncle and them needs a home based business. You do. It's not an option unless you just like to give away money. If you do, then that's fine. But if you're saying to yourself, I need to make the most, keep the most of what I make, you need a home based business, even with a job.
This question I'm about to ask you this question I'm about to ask you. I think I was talking with you on yesterday, and I think we were talking about Amazon. You remember? Was it yesterday or today? And I read
Oh,
that
remind
Amazon paid no taxes.
Yep.
Amazon paid no taxes. I believe it was
Mhm.
last 2019.
Yep.
FedEx is another company, paid zero taxes.
Hmm.
Um, Here's the question: is it possible not to pay taxes, or is
Very.
this just a figment of imagination?
Absolutely not. I mean, it's very, very possible. And that's what the wealthy have learned. Again, remember, we talked about the fact that we are behind the eight ball. We have a learning curve to
Literacy.
still get over, right? So
Mhm.
Jeff Bezos, how does he get to pay less in taxes than his secretary? Right? Makes all of that money.
Wow.
How does he get to pay less in taxes? This is a man that makes billions of dollars. How does he pay less in
Wow.
taxes than his secretary? And this reminds me of a few years ago. Jada was in the school that I had her in, and I had one of the parents in that school. They owned a businesses, and I did some image consulting and branding for their company, right? And I know, as a matter of fact, based on the analysis we did before I did the branding and the consulting for them, between their businesses, they bring in almost $600,000 a year, right? Almost safe to say
Mhm.
that. And do you know that they had their kid in that school, but they qualified for a grant and they were paying nothing for their kid to be in that school? Mind you, on my end, I was paying thousands of dollars to have my daughter in that school, and I made nowhere close, nothing close to what they were earning. And I always wondered how that was possible, right? Well, now
Right.
I'm found the secret. And this is part of what we're sharing with our community because the wealthy have learned what we call tax advantage portfolios, right? So they're
Mhm.
tax now portfolios, they're tax later or tax deferred, but you also have tax advantaged. So each one of us, these are three categories that we have to think about on a daily basis. Where is our money going into? And most of us within our community, it goes into that first column of the tax now, which is our checking account, our savings account. Some of us may even have mutual funds, right? All of these these are, we're talking about tax now accounts. Then we have the tax later or the deferred, like your 401ks, your 403bs, again, pension plans, and so on and so forth. But we haven't taken advantage, or we don't know enough about the tax advantage accounts. The tax advantage accounts give you leverage when at the end of the year you calculate what we call your AGI, or your adjusted gross income, because Uncle Sam isn't as concerned about that income you get as much as he is concerned about your AGI, or your adjusted gross income. This is when you've been able
Right.
to put together your income based on, yes, this is what you made. However, if you have tax shelter portfolios, your money goes in those portfolios, and that's why someone like Jeff Bezos can end up not paying anything in taxes. You could make $100,000 a year, right? But if you're funneling about 50,000 of those dollars into tax advantage accounts, it takes you down. You're now in a different bracket, right? You're taxed in a different bracket. You're not taxed as someone who earns 100,000. Now you're taxed as someone who earns 50,000. You can learn ways, and this is legal. That's why your president doesn't, he hasn't shown his tax records. But guess what? I bet you when they see them, they probably wouldn't do anything, but they're afraid to show you, because the average American who earns even $30,000 is paying much more in taxes than your president has and probably will, right? But it is legal. It is legal. There's they have made provision for you to be able to use tax deferred accounts, and our community has to learn how to use these the tax advantaged accounts to our benefits. So at the end of the year, your adjusted gross income shouldn't be what you're earning. Don't earn $150,000 and pay taxes on $150,000. Don't pay more than your fair share of taxes. It doesn't make you more holy. It doesn't make you more righteous. You are not going to have a different lane
You
in
better say it.
you did. You won't. I promise you,
You
right?
better say
I'm sure
it.
you stand before God and He said all that sense, and you couldn't even get any to use on earth, right? So, no, don't pay more than you have to in taxes. You don't have to. Don't pay 100. You earn 150 and you're paying taxes on 150. My goodness. You can earn 150 and pay taxes on $30,000, because your adjusted
That's
gross
right.
income, when you have that work at home business, you're able to take deductions that allow you to do that. Not only that, you're able to actually put your money in portfolios that are tax advantaged, and because that money is there, you don't have to report it. So you're
Okay.
never
All right.
on it,
Listen. You
not clear on.
listen. You're giving them something. You doing it again. You doing it again. You're giving them you're
Sure.
giving them a lot of that good information for free. Listen. So listen. Yeah, I love it. But listen, we this information is being given today. It's free right now, but it won't be free for long. As a matter of fact, um, here's a last question for you. If I want to build wealth, can I do this with a job?
No, I think we've discussed it. No, you can't do it with a job. Again, you could be comfortable, but no, you can't do it with a job. No, you're not going to be able to leave anything necessarily for your children. Um, God bless you, Albert. God bless you. No, on a job, you're not going to be able to do that. Again, it's a blessing that you have a job. Prayerfully, you're able to stay abreast of your bills. You're able to at least be comfortable. But when it comes to building wealth, that's not something that's been statistically proven that you can build wealth on a job. No.
Okay. So basically, you're saying that a job, while there's nothing wrong with having a job, a person should aspire to be an entrepreneur if they want to leave a legacy and build wealth for their generation and next generation and next generation. Is that what you're sharing with us?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll give you an example. Think about the Proverbs 31 woman, right? And
Yes.
we talk about the Proverbs 31 woman all the time. This woman had nine streams of income. Nine. I mean,
Nine.
was a trader, she was a realtor, she was in the clothes, she was a fashion designer, she was a baker. She had 9 streams of income. So it's so
Lydia.
important when you have a job. That's one. So that can be one stream. But the
Hmm.
idea is for you to have multiple streams, multiple.
Right.
Everyone should have at the minimum four, at the minimum, and aspire
Right.
to think about success leaves clues. So when you look at those who've been able to, no matter the sphere that you're in, we're talking in the kingdom, we're talking, when I think about someone like Pastor Miles Monroe. This was a man that was not only um solid in the word and in his teachings, but he was very savvy. He was a very savvy entrepreneur, right? Look at
Hmm.
the giants, so to speak, even in the kingdom. They've been able to learn. You don't get any badge of honor, by being a believer, and we've been blessed to be a blessing. I believe that we can be distribution centers.
Hmm.
We can walk in that overflow. So absolutely, a lot of people, most people, if 99% of those who've created wealth have been able to do it because there are multiple streams, right? And so a lot of times
Okay.
we don't have the knowledge, or we just don't know how, or we don't have the tools. We might know it, we may have heard it, but sometimes it just sounds so abstract, right? So the key is finding how can you do it today, because it's doable. And so if you find
It's
someone who,
doable.
ask, how can I
Yes.
do this?
Yes.
How else can I create another stream with what I'm doing now? And like I said, one of the things that I do is help individuals leverage multiple streams of income from home. So when we get started, is to identify, we look and we do like a strategy session, and we look at what are you doing now, what's coming
Okay.
in. Some people, maybe there's
So this is
nothing.
what you. So this is what you do as far as your financial literacy sessions and what have you.
That's part of it. So if someone
Okay.
comes in for financial literacy, there's some people, because I'm a certified coach, some people just do one-on-one coaching. Some people come in
Hmm.
because they're looking for, how can I start to leverage multiple streams of income, from home, right? So that's part of it, is to find out, okay, what can we first start with to add on? What are you
Hmm.
good at that you can do from home, right? What you're good at may not be something that can make you money while you sleep. So I'll give you an example. I'm great with hair. Always been. In fact, for years I didn't do that because I felt, well, it's not really paying me what I want, until God gave me an idea that I went and ran with, right? With regards to that.
Hmm.
But if you're good at something, maybe your hands, your a creative, a natural creative, you can do that. That can be one stream of income. But once you find that, you also begin to think of, what else can I do that's not dependent 100% on my effort, right? And so you begin to just build on it and leverage multiple streams of income. Someone like Apostle Liberty, I'm using her because I can see her on here and I know her. For example, she's an author. That's one stream of income, right? She has like a clothing boutique online. That's another stream of income. So you begin to build on, and once you start, that's the thing. It's just about starting, because once you
Get
start,
started.
it
Yeah.
started. Before you know it, you begin to build on stream after stream after stream, right?
So
But
listen.
multiple streams of income is a necessity.
So listen, Uchenna, listen. I know that you have. I know that you have a session that you're doing and making ready for the public. Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, sure. I'll give you an example. So, the basic financial literacy, or the foundation course, is launching on the 3rd of August. So people are starting to register for that, and I'll encourage you, if you're on, to definitely go ahead and do that. And just let me give you a little idea of what you're going to be able to get in this particular course. We're going to talk about the real deal about money and the spiritual foundation to wealth, because there is a spiritual foundation to wealth, right? And that's what
Hmm.
we help you do, is make that, I help you make that connection. And then we begin to talk about the wealth formula. There is a formula to wealth, right? It just doesn't happen. So I teach you the formula, how money works. And then we talk about financial foundation and building wealth right. Again, if you look at a home, you don't start building a house and put a roof up first,
From the
right?
top, right? No,
You
you
can't.
don't.
I mean, that will be
No, you
the,
don't.
I
I
don't
don't
know
want
how.
to be in that house. No, no, no.
Nobody wants that house, right? So you
Mm-mm.
have to build the financial foundation and you have to build it right. So when it comes to wealth building, there is a way to build it and build it right. And then we talk about pivoting from senseless spending. Again, how do you do that? Because remember that a lot of habits we have as a people, it's been inbuilt in us, it's been ingrained in us, right? So we begin to break those habits down. I help you pivot. You begin to get the tools and the know-how to begin to actually even track your spending and know how to move away from senseless spending. We talk about the credit game, right? And doing credit right. Because again, it's not, yes, cash is king, but credit is very important, right? So we teach you how can you play the credit game right. That's part of what I teach in the course. And then invest in 101. How can you begin? And a lot of times when we think about investing, people think you have to make a certain level of income to be able to invest. And that's not true. So I show you
Not
how
true at all.
you can start investing today from your current excesses, right? So that's part of what you're going to learn in the course. And then gaining advantage with Uncle Sam. I talked about that a little bit, but we go into detail. I mean, we go in, we delve in. How can you gain advantage? How can you, since there are 475 deductions or breaks you can get, right? How we show you how to begin to do that. I show you how to leverage tax advantage accounts because you are able to leverage that. You know, what are those tax advantage accounts? That's part of what you learn, right? And you're able to be plugged in to taking advantage of those tax advantage accounts. And then I talk about the secrets of building generational wealth because again, this is where our counterparts have the advantage. They've built generational wealth. A kid, you know, a child is born and they already have hundreds of thousands of dollars that's set apart for them, right? So how do we do that? No matter what you earn, you're able to begin building generational wealth today. And I teach you how to do that. And of
Today.
course, how do you pay less in taxes? So that's all part of what you're going to be getting in the course. And I'm very excited. You can actually register now. If you go to my site, www.uchennalewis.vonza.com/courses, right? If you go on uchennalewis.vonza.com, you should be able to click courses and you should be able to register for that particular course. I have so this is a silver package. There is the gold package and there'll be the platinum package. The gold and platinum package goes deeper. I mean, we delve deeper. We're able to actually help you set up a home-based business. We're able to help with coaching, like working with you one-on-one for a period of time to get you to where you need to be as far as your finances go and all of that. You're not going to find it when you go on the courses yet because that's going to launch afterwards. But anyone who does the foundational course, you're going to get what the difference is when those courses launch as well, right? So you're not going to pay the full price for the other courses. You're going to pay whatever it is less the amount that you have paid for the foundational course. Oh, Pastor
That's
Dr. Evans, God bless you, sir. It's great to see you.
that's awesome. That's awesome, Uchenna. Listen. So before we get off the broadcast, we only have a few more minutes left. You want to share some home base, your other entrepreneurial activities that you have?
Absolutely. So financial literacy is part of what I do. Again, I'm a licensed financial professional. And I do want to share, especially for our pastors, our overseers, our leaders, and just permit me to do this because this is so heavy and so strong on my heart. One of the lead-ins I have is to help our local assemblies and our churches help our people become financially empowered. They need to be taught, right? So I'm encouraging every pastor, every overseer here that's listening in, or that will listen in, or maybe catch the replay in the future, please get in touch with me and let's think about having. I believe every house should have at least one financial strategist within that house, right? And I'm able to work with you and your congregation. You can nominate someone, or whatever. We start with just getting them into a financial literacy workshop, and we can then identify some of your people who might be interested in being the port of call for your house as far as finances and educating your people. Because the key is this: a success is never a success until they have successors. I want to be able to, within as many churches as possible, have others like myself who are empowering and educating those congregations financially, right? So my prayer is that we're able to do that. And so please get in touch with me. I'd love to do that for you and your congregation. But in addition to that, of course, I speak professionally. So that's an income stream for me, for example, as far as home-based businesses as well. I do have a health and wellness business. I do image consulting and branding. I do marketing as well. So those are some of the things, some of the multiple streams that I leverage. And then we also do wealth building, where we teach people how to invest, not just in cash, but in let's call it natural substances, right? That help with building long-term wealth. I mean, true wealth. But one that's also near and dear to my heart, especially, is our health and wellness, because our health is our wealth. You could have whatever you have, but if you're not healthy, you could spend all that you've invested just trying to better your health. So even tonight at 8 p.m., we will be having a health workshop. So I'm inviting those of you who are on to join in tonight. You can text 443 898 and you will receive the access to that. So if you're interested in the health industry, for example, that's one stream. One of the things I also do is I help you look at the path that might be best for you. So if you want to get clarity, for example, on what might work for you as far as a home-based business, if you're looking to start, because there's so many ways you could go, right? So if you want to get a little bit more clarity, look on the screen. You'll find, just text this number, 443 898 4570. Text it with your name, text it with your email address, and you will receive a placement questionnaire. So the placement questionnaire basically helps you to decipher what might be best for you as far as a home-based business, which route you want to take, because it's really not a one size fit all, right? We all have different personalities, different passions, different things that make us tick. And whatever it is you decide to do, you want to know that this is something that you will be passionate about. So we help you with that placement questionnaire to decide which angle might be best for you. Even with my daughter, Jada, for example, I'm into the beauty industry with her, and she thought that was important. And with that particular, the income coming from that is helping her save for her future. So there are just so many ways to skin this cat, and what we want to do is help people learn how to do that. Also, if you will, if you, for those on social media, of course you are, otherwise you wouldn't see us. But you want to check out, look at the ticker at the bottom. Check out hashtag 100 Mom 2K20 Challenge. Again, that's hashtag 100 Mom 2K20 Challenge. And what we're doing with that is really helping at least 100 women this year begin to earn handsomely from home, at least at the minimum $1,000 monthly. Because you know what? That can change so many lives and so many families. It's said that most people are just one paycheck away from being homeless, right? So if people are able to begin to earn up to $1,000 at least on the side from home, that will be a big help for them. And last but not least, again, at that bottom, the ticker, you're going to see I have my free financial workshops and overviews that you can be a part of, right? So all you have to do is text that number. You see it at the bottom, the ticker, it says free financial literacy overview slash workshop. Text 443-898-4570. Again, give me your name, your email address, and you're going to be able to receive information to the free financial workshop. And also you can get a personal financial strategy session with that as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Health and wellness is the order of the day, right?
That's correct. Health and wealth. You know,
Health and
Third
wealth.
John 2, that's one of my favorite verses of scripture. I wish above all things that you will prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And I think for those of us who have that call upon our lives, we're in the fivefold, we're helping people's souls prosper. We're helping them come to a place of salvation and so forth. But now, we're able to also help them get be in health and be financially free. I mean, God is interested in the whole man, not just your spirit. You don't want to be heavenly bound and of no earthly good. So we want you to be heavenly
Uh-huh.
bound, but you can make impact, truly make impact while you're still here on earth and live your best life before you cross over to that side of eternity.
You know, one of the favorite scriptures in the Bible for me is Joshua chapter 1, verses 7 and 8.
Mm,
In the latter part of it that says, then you should make your way prosperous,
prosperous,
and then you should have good
good
success.
success. That's
He
right.
doesn't tell us to call on God to make our way prosperous.
Mm,
He says you make your way
that's
prosperous,
right.
and I think that is so powerful. So many people are saying, "Well, I'm waiting on God. I'm
He's
calling
waiting on you.
on God," and God is saying, "Well, wait a minute. I'm waiting on
I'm
you
waiting on
because
you.
I've already equipped you for what's needed. I've already equipped you for your future, for to be able to walk out your life in destiny and be productive, progressive in the earth. Listen, Did you tell him about our new venture? Did you tell him about the new venture?
No, go ahead. You share that.
Oh man,
I
oh man,
heard a little bit, but you can share
you
that.
did. I mean, I'm telling you,
You don't let me do all the work today. I can't do all the work, Bishop.
you
Babe, I can't
well,
do all the work. Come on, you do something.
well,
Come on,
you're
babe.
doing such a marvelous job sharing.
Well, thank you.
You're doing a marvelous job sharing what you're doing, and
Oh,
I'm just
thank
enjoying listening to
you.
and watching what God is doing in your life. But we have taken on another venture. That's right, we've taken on another venture. We have taken on another venture where essentially the average person can now be gold owners.
That's right.
Wow,
It's awesome.
the average person can own gold. So listen, if you want to hear more about that, just reach out to us and we'll be glad to talk to you more about it. Of course, as you know, we have health and wellness, and we also have wealth. Amen. You know,
Amen.
because you want to be able to tap into, my goodness, you want to be able to tap into these various resources and these home-based businesses that we are a part of and have, and reach out to her, reach out to me, so we can give you that information, so we can help you be an entrepreneur and build wealth. Now, we're talking to people that understand this is not a fly by night, pie in the
Nope.
sky. This is none of that. If you're looking for a lever to pull and say, come on, hearts, this is not for you. But if you're
Nope.
willing to be dedicated, if you're willing to be disciplined, if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to get your grind and hustle on for your business, listen, talk to us. We'll be glad to help you be successful and move in that direction. I mean, listen, we got a plethora of opportunities. Talk to us, reach out to us. Listen, thank you all for joining us today. You have tuned in to Money Monday, and guess what? You think we can do this next Monday, Uchenna?
Next Monday. So yeah, we can. I will be on next Monday is the third, correct? Yeah, we could do it next Monday.
Yeah, I
Yes, we
believe
can.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah, at what time can we do it?
it's same time, same
3 o'clock.
channel.
We'll be here at 3 o'clock. We'll be here at 3 o'clock next Monday, talking about, you got it, Monday. Money matters. We're gonna talk about it to equip you with more information to help you move forward in your financial journey. Listen, again, thank you, Uchenna, for joining us, taking time out of your busy schedule. Listen, my phone has been ringing. I just saw one of the calls was from my attorney. Listen, I got to give him a call back because we got some major things going on in the pipe. Listen, pray for us. Listen, God is awesome. God is good. I'm hungry, and so Uchenna, listen, you did an
Yeah.
awesome job today sharing with us. You really was very informative, gave us good information to think about and look at, and kind of go back on the replay and look at it again. And then listen, share this information because we need to know how to stop spending all of our money and
That's
put
right.
it somewhere where it can grow. You can see your money grow. And we got some avenues and venues for you to do that. So reach out to us so that we can turn your money around.
Amen.
Amen. Listen, as
Amen.
always, I pray that the blessings of God and the peace of God will continue to dwell with you and your families in every area of your life. God bless you is our prayer.
Blessing.
Deuces.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.